here. It's 2 o'clock. We have about 15 people on. So hopefully, I think there were over 150 people who attended. So just know if you have to scoot earlier or anything like that, this will be recorded and you will automatically get the replay here. So hello from Texas. Awesome, guys. Okay. So now I'm going to share my screen. So Danielle is officially my IT person. So if anything goes wrong, just let me know in the chat. Okay, let's share this. Oh no. Oh. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see that. Hopefully you can still see me in the bottom left, but I'm not important. The presentation is. And now I'm like, okay, where's the chat? But I'll just check on it every now and then. But let me know if anybody can't see this or if we're good to go. Okay, all good. All right, guys, here we go. Okay, thanks. Okay, so welcome, guys. Welcome to the 90-30-50 Method Masterclass. I hope everybody is ready to learn more about the 90-30-50 method and how you can transform your metabolism and mindset in just weeks. I don't know about you guys, but I want to feel amazing heading into the summer. But we do have to start now. So we're going to dive deep into the method, how it works, how it is integrated into every single one of my programs, and how you can take this information and apply it yourself to start taking control of your health and seeing results. So a little about me. If you're here, you probably know that I'm Courtney, but I'm a twin mom. I have 3-year-old toddlers, which is absolute chaos right now. I'm also a fiance. I have been for 4 years. We kind of did everything backwards, felt free to have twins, then get the house, and now we're planning the wedding. I actually just bought my wedding dress last weekend, and so it's exciting. We're moving in the right direction. And I'm also a registered dietitian, which most of you might know, but some of you maybe don't. I still get that question a lot. I have training in nutrition. So I'm a registered dietitian, a licensed dietitian. I have been for 6 years. I have a master's in nutrition diagnostics, which is just the fancy term to mean I have training in identifying nutrient deficiencies. But this is where I really learned that nutrients matter more than calories alone, which we're definitely going to dive into today. And I've had my business seeing clients one-on-one and doing these programs for about 2 years now. And I'm the creator of the 90-30-50 method, which is why we're all here today. And we're going to learn a ton about that. So I would love to hear how you guys found me, whether it was through TikTok or Instagram or my email list. I'm just, I would love that information because sometimes it's hard to be like, oh, where are you coming from? So if you just wanted to put that in the chat, that would be awesome. And stay tuned until the end. So watch this masterclass until the end to learn exactly how you can take action on your fat loss journey today. There is going to be unique discount codes for the Spring Fit and 4 program, the Spring Fit and 4 cookbook, and there's now a custom meal planning option. There's only 50 spots. I'm only taking 50 clients at a time. So you guys here in the webinar will have first access to those spots. All of it is set to open on March 1st, but I've opened it right now for you guys. The general public doesn't know that, but you guys, again, will be given the links at the end with your unique discount code, and you can use that up until March 1st. Let me just double check that the chat is working here and that you guys can still see me. Okay, doing the winter fit. Oh, sorry. Winter Fit and 4 now and feel great. Excited to learn more. That's so awesome. Instagram. Okay. Awesome. TikTok, couple TikToks. Instagram. All right, guys. That's awesome. Okay. So let me go back. Sorry about this flip flop. This is the first time I'm using Zoom for the webinar too. So I'm like, how does this all work? So, okay. We got Danielle though. We're good. Okay. So you might be thinking, am I in the right place? So we'll just go over, you're in the right place if the calories in, calories out approach isn't working. Whether you're tired of counting calories, you're unsure if you're doing it right, or maybe you are doing it right and you're seeing results, but you're just over it in general. You want to find an easier way. Or maybe you're finally ready to have a healthy relationship with food. Give me a thumbs up if you're definitely ready to build that healthy relationship with food. I know that I struggled with an unhealthy relationship with food, a very restrictive mentality surrounding food, which we'll get into a little bit as well. And I'm just over it. And I'm so glad I was able to integrate the 90-30-50 method. It truly transformed my life and so many of my clients' lives. So I'm definitely excited to get into that. Or maybe you want a straightforward approach to fat loss. Tell me what to do, if you will. That's how I am. Just tell me what to do. You're busy. You have better things to do than creating a meal plan every week, curating a weekly grocery list, and making sure it reaches your nutrient goals. That in and of itself is a full-time job. And if it wasn't my full-time job, I don't think that I would enjoy doing it, honestly. Or maybe you're seeking expert guidance. You're tired of the influencers, which there's nothing wrong with them, but maybe you're just tired of seeing influencers on social media saying, inaccurate information or information that simply doesn't work for you or doesn't fit your lifestyle and is not for you. So if you said yes, if any of those sound good and kind of why you're here, then welcome. You are definitely in the right place. So, a little about my story. I actually just posted this on TikTok and Instagram yesterday. But I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism at just 10 years old, wasn't given like any information on it, and didn't find out that I had Hashimoto's until 15 years later. But because of hypothyroidism, if you guys don't know, it slows everything down. So it slows cognition down. So you start to have brain fog, difficulty word finding. It slows your digestive tract down. So a lot of times you're constipated or bloated, things aren't just passing through. And then most importantly to me at the time was my metabolism greatly slowed down. So I wasn't where I wanted to be body composition wise. So I started the eat less, move more approach. Okay. It didn't really take into account my hormones or anything like that, but I wanted to lose weight. And that was what I was taught to do. I was so confused because at the time too, I was actually in my undergraduate program, learning how to become a dietitian, learning to teach people to eat less and move more if they wanted to lose weight. I was doing it myself and I wasn't seeing results. I couldn't figure out why it didn't work for me. So I used to think if I wanted to lose weight, I just needed to eat less and move more. Kind of just covered that. I also used to think weight loss required sacrifice. So I had to skip social events. I was avoiding the foods that I loved because I thought that, discipline meant I was going to see results. And I thought that weight loss had to be difficult. It required constant tracking and counting in order to see results. So overall, I felt extremely restricted. I truly felt like in my friend group at the time, I was the one who was like hyper focused on what I was eating and making sure that I like stuck within my calories and was at the gym before classes, trying to get a workout in, even if it wasn't a whole ton, it was something, it was more than other people were doing. And I was like, why do I feel like the only one that's not seeing results? So something wasn't right there. But now I've completely transformed my metabolism and relationship with food. I now have an addition mentality, not a restrictive one. And once I got these strategies in place with the 90-30-50 method, dare I say it was easy, which I never thought was possible. So when it comes to the addition mentality, we're going to learn that in the 90-30-50 method, it's what foods can I add to reach my 90-30-50 goals, not which foods can I take away or which foods do I have to restrict in order to stay within my calorie budget. I no longer experience food noise, so I talk about this a lot, but the foods that I eat are very voluminous, if that's the right word, and they just take up a lot of space. They're very fibrous, protein and nutrient dense in general. And I'm full from my meals for hours, and clients and members of the programs can definitely say the same. It's incredible. So far, I've lost 55 pounds postpartum after twins. I've pretty much reached my goal with that, and I'm so happy because I seriously, when I got pregnant with twins, I was like, well, there goes my body, there goes, everything that I've worked for, even though I wasn't seeing a whole ton of results before I got pregnant. But I'm actually leaner and stronger now than I was before pregnancy. I feel amazing. My autoimmune disease is in remission. My energy is up. I sleep well, even with twin toddlers. I've dropped over 2% body fat. And again, I'm stronger and have more energy than I used to have. So who else would love to feel like this? Raise your hand, comment me if you are ready to learn how to start feeling like this. And this is when I am going to, okay, I see a lot of hands raised. Oh, okay. So you, oh my gosh, I figured it out. Okay, well, at least I'm seeing hands raised, which is good, which means you guys can still hear me and you guys are getting the message, which is awesome. And there's going to be a Q&A at the end. So if you have questions about anything along the way, just because of this screen sharing view, I'm going to do the Q&A in the chat and stuff at the end. So I'll answer all your questions, but put them in the chat now while you're still thinking of them. Okay. All right, now where am I? Okay. Well, so if this kind of sounds too good to be true, I'm telling you that it is possible to feel amazing while reaching your goals. So this is just a handful of testimonials. I truly get at least one a day. You guys are absolutely incredible. Somebody already said they're in the Winter Fit and 4 program and they're feeling amazing. It's just, I'm so grateful that you guys are in the programs and I'm so happy you guys are seeing results. So, someone lost 21 pounds since October just by increasing their protein. Taylor has been doing the Winter Fit and 4 program for 10 days, and she noticed 9 pounds weight loss. Somebody was following for roughly 4 weeks. I didn't include the names and I don't memorize them, so that's why I'm like, somebody said. But another person was doing this program for 4 weeks and they're down 10 pounds. They've never had these results so quickly. The major bonus is she doesn't feel deprived or starved. Okay, that's huge, because that's the sustainability aspect of it. This person started at 265. This one's crazy. Started at 265 and is now at 130. Feels like a completely different person, and she's never hungry. Another person noticed digestion is better. She has energy. The food is easy to make. It's easy to follow. She lost 3 pounds. And nothing's worked like this in terms of ease and seeing results this quickly. So it's absolutely possible. When you put the right strategies in place, you start to see significant, sustainable results. Oh. Okay, so let's talk about why traditional diets fail. So, number one is they focus on weight loss instead of fat loss, which is a big difference. So, we're in traditional diets, we're focused on reducing calories so we can lose weight. But we need to be focusing on the nutrients that make up those calories in order to lose fat and keep muscle, because that is what's going to keep your energy levels up and your metabolism up and help you actually keep the weight off. Because in traditional diets, when you just follow a 1,400 calorie diet and maybe you're like, you know what, I'm going to eat what I want, but I'm going to stay in my deficit. And you're still, of course, probably going to see weight loss, but it's going to be weight loss and not fat loss. Because maybe you're eating pizza and Oreos, maybe a salad here or there, maybe coffee for breakfast, just to make sure that you're in that 1,400 calorie range, but you're not doing what you need to do in order to facilitate fat loss and muscle gain. So let's say you reach your goal weight on that more processed food calorie deficit, and now you want to go to maintenance. So you increase the calories a bit, maybe you come off the restriction, and you immediately gain it back and gain it back double. This is because when we lose muscle, when we're restricting calories and not keeping protein high, we're losing muscle, and this ultimately slows metabolism down. So when you come off of that restriction, it comes back. Like, I know when I used to do that, it used to be one weekend and I was up 3 pounds. Sure, it was water weight and things like that, but it just came back really quickly. Overall, it's unsustainable, promotes unhealthy relationships with food. Again, those feelings of like, what social event do I need to miss this month? Or, what foods do I have to cut out in order to maintain my calorie deficit? That's not a good, healthy, enjoyable way to live. And you shouldn't have to do that in order to reach your goals. Or maybe you're good all week. Good. I don't like to use the good and bad, but maybe you're good all week and then you start to overconsume on the weekends. And overall, just this restrictive mentality. Or maybe it's laborious. Maybe you are somebody who likes the numbers and has become kind of diligent with your numbers and tracking. Or maybe you feel like you have to count calories and track everything. And that in and of itself just kind of steers you away of wanting to do a diet because it's so much work. I'm sure you already have busy lives and we don't have time to sit around and calculate every single nutrient of every single food to make sure you're reaching your goals. Some people can, if it's their full-time job or they're doing it and they really, really enjoy it, but the majority of people don't have time and don't enjoy it. Again, this calories over nutrients emphasis, which is a big problem. So this neglects micronutrient needs, We need a lot of micronutrients to keep our metabolism running optimally, to stay full, to keep energized so that we can go on a walk over lunch or sleep better so that we can get that restful sleep so our metabolism works optimally and we don't have cravings the next day. So it's all connected, and we need emphasis on micronutrients instead of just calories alone. Also, traditional diets ignore hormonal imbalances and other underlying conditions. So, me with hypothyroidism, like I said in the beginning, when I started the calories in, calories out, it didn't address my hypothyroidism. It didn't address my slow metabolism and things like that. So maybe you're struggling with insulin resistance or prediabetes, type 2 diabetes. Maybe you have an autoimmune condition on your own. Maybe you're struggling with vitamin D deficiency, or there could be anything underlying going on that a simple calories in, calories out equation is not going to address. And the problem is it's going to leave you sluggish, low energy, not sleeping well. It's going to wreak havoc on your hormones, and the list goes on. And then it just kind of becomes this vicious cycle. You're not feeling great, you're not seeing results, and you tend to not want to stick to the traditional diet plan. So that is where the 90-30-50 method comes in. All right. All right. Are you guys still with me? Raise your hand if you're still with me. Okay, good. Everybody good? Okay, guys. Awesome. I can't see the chat, but I can see your hands raised. So that's how we'll communicate for the time being. Okay, so the 90-30-50 method, you've probably heard about it before. I started integrating it into my plans over a year ago, and I've just seen some pretty amazing results. So the 90 is 90 grams of protein minimum a day. The 30 is 30 grams of fiber minimum a day. And the 50 is 50 grams of healthy anti-inflammatory fats minimum a day. So again, we're going from that restrictive mentality of, well, what do I need to take away from my diet, to this addition mentality. What do I need to add to my diet to make sure that I'm reaching 90 grams or 30 grams of fiber? I would say that that's probably the hardest one to reach. Let me know which is the hardest for you. Do you struggle with protein? Do you struggle with fiber? Or do you struggle with healthy fats? I tend to reach the fats pretty quickly. I love cheese. I love avocado. Fats tend to be higher in calories as well. So I just feel like it's easy. Oh, here we go. Here we go, guys. Okay. Fiber, absolutely. Definitely fiber. Sometimes I feel like I put like 2 cups of spinach on my plate and I'm like, how is that only 3 grams of fiber? So we're going to figure out how we can reach these goals pretty effortlessly. All right, I don't want to keep the chat here because it'll block everything. So this is the 90-30-50 method. These are your minimums. Now, we're still staying in a calorie deficit. I'm not saying that calories don't matter at all, but there's a difference again between doing a 14 or 1500 calorie deficit and filling it, not saying you do this, but I'm just using it as an example, and filling it with pizza and Oreos and chips, and still being in a 1500 calorie deficit and seeing some weight loss, because a lot of people are like, you can eat whatever you want as long as you're in a deficit. It's true. But when it comes to sustainability and when it comes to lifestyle and being able to kind of come off of it eventually and not have to be in a calorie deficit to see, consistent results, this is where the 90-30-50 method comes in. You want to stay in that 1500 calorie deficit, but you want to still reach 90 grams of protein, 30 grams of fiber, and 50 grams of fats. So why these numbers? That's a great question. So now here I go. Move me. I could be off it altogether. Okay. So 90 grams of protein. This is the minimum amount of protein that's needed to facilitate muscle synthesis, which is just a fancy word for muscle growth. And why this is so important, we touched on it earlier, but even as we age, every year after 30, muscle mass begins to decline. So 90 grams is the minimum that we need. Often in the 90-30-50 program, when we're doing meal plans and things like that, we exceed the 90 grams of protein, because I do get a lot of people saying, well, that's really low. Well, it's our minimum, okay? So you don't want to go below the 90 grams of protein, because we always want to ensure that we're eating enough to grow muscle. Muscle is protective against almost every single chronic condition, really every single chronic condition. It helps with blood sugar control. So if you have blood sugar imbalance and you have high blood sugar levels, when blood sugar levels are high, typically they're stored as fat. But when you have a lot of lean muscle mass, that excess blood sugar can actually be dumped into our muscle and be utilized for energy. So that's huge, right? So it's getting it out of our bloodstream. Our hormones start to work better. The inflammation starts to go down. We have more energy because it's utilizing it as energy. So it's also known as the muscle of longevity. So it truly helps with aging gracefully. It helps with hair, skin, and nails. I mean, there are so many good things about protein. So 90 grams is our absolute minimum. Specifically, when you're breaking that down into breakfast, lunch, dinner, at breakfast, I always say you want to try and get 30 to 50 grams of protein. This is going to, it's like making your bed in the morning. You get up and you have that protein for breakfast. It doesn't have to be first thing in the morning, but at your first meal, it should be 30 to 50 grams of protein. It sets the tone, just like making your bed, it sets the tone for your entire day. It sets the tone for your metabolism. It gives it a little boost in the morning. It sets the tone for your energy because it's controlling your blood sugar throughout the entire day. And it sets the tone for your cravings throughout the entire day. I know when I start with a low protein breakfast, it's like my whole morning and my whole day is just kind of like I'm sluggish. I'm always hungry. I'm like grazing throughout the day. But when you start your day with a powerful, high protein breakfast, it makes so much of a difference. So that is your goal for breakfast, 30 to 50 grams of protein. And we're still talking within this total of 90 grams. And then each following meal, so lunch and dinner, should be at least 30 grams of protein. Your best sources are going to be your animal proteins. I do get a lot of questions about vegetarian and vegan options. I would say vegetarian would be easy. Pescatarian with the salmon, shrimp, tuna would be even easier. But you definitely want to try and get some animal sources in if you can, even if it's eggs or something like that. Your absolute best, highest protein foods are going to be chicken, turkey, steak, pork, eggs, salmon, shrimp, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, and then plant-based sources, tofu, tempeh. Protein powders, I don't love to depend on, right? We want real food first, but protein powders are definitely integrated into my plans because they take recipes. Like if you love oatmeal in the morning, but you're like, I need to hit that 30-gram goal, that's where protein powder comes in, where it's useful. And you can add some protein powder in, some chia seeds, some almonds, and then it becomes 30 grams of protein. And you're way more satiated than if you weren't to add that protein. So that's where the 90 grams comes from. There's so much research on breakfast. So that is really, if you take nothing, if you take anything away from this presentation, it should to be just start your day with that 30 to 50 grams of protein. All right. Next is 30 grams of fiber. So why 30 grams of fiber? So studies show that 30 grams and even exceeding that 30 grams, which everybody said they have trouble with fiber, including me. So that's like, whoa, can't imagine like more than 30 grams. That's pushing it. But when you get there, you'll notice weight management. You're so full. I know we talked about the satiety that comes with protein, and it's true. I mean, I can't even fathom eating like more than one chicken breast. It's just like, well, like that stuffs me. But when it comes to fiber, it's also super satiating. It also feeds the good bacteria in your gut. And we know that that is linked to blood sugar control and weight management. That goes with the blood sugar regulation. And then reduced risk of chronic diseases. It's very healing for the digestive tract. 80 to 90% of our immune system is in our digestive tract. So if it's helping our digestive tract, it's going to promote better immunity. And it's like, if you think about cholesterol levels, the number one nutrition strategy is to bump up that fiber. It's very heart healthy. So it's so good to consistently get that 30 grams of fiber in. Metabolic support, it helps the body burn fat because of that blood sugar regulation. It helps the body produce and regulate hormones, and it's naturally detoxifying. Up in the right corner here, I have Brussels sprouts, which a lot of people notice some digestive issues with. But if you can consistently get them in about 2 to 3 times a week, they have something called sulforaphane in them, and they help the liver to naturally detoxify toxic waste in the body. So it binds and it comes out, when we have a bowel movement. So there are just so many benefits to having this consistent amount of fiber. Again, blood sugar control, weight management, digestive tract, immunity, the list goes on and on. So that's really important, and honestly, an often overlooked nutrient. And then 50 grams of healthy anti-inflammatory fats. So aiming for a goal of 25 to 35% of total calories, which for most people is about 50 grams of healthy fats. probably a little bit more than that. But again, the 50 grams is our minimum. It supports healthy hormone balance. It supports blood sugar balance. So there is really no impact of fat on blood sugar levels. So again, if you're struggling with insulin resistance, prediabetes, PCOS, type 2 diabetes, it's a really big blood sugar, even high cholesterol levels is linked to sugar and blood sugar imbalance, weight gain, inability to lose weight. So just know that leaning on healthy anti-inflammatory fats not only helps hormones, but it also helps blood sugar. It helps us stay full. So as you notice by now, all three of these nutrients help promote satiety. That's why these meals keep you full for hours. They reduce the food noise while keeping your metabolism up, because that's our primary focus, is staying full on our plans. And they reduce inflammation. So we're specifically talking about healthy anti-inflammatory fats, not the processed fats, not seed oils, but olive oil, avocado oil, avocados, almonds, chia seeds, flax seeds, wild-caught salmon, or any other fatty fish. Avocado oil mayo kind of fits in there. So there are olives is another one, cheese. So there is a ton of good healthy fat options, and they provide so much flavor and texture to food, which I think in a lot of diet plans too, that's lacking. You're like, like I have to eat this. But when you kind of do the protein, you got the fiber, when you can start to add in the fat, like mayo and a little bit of avocado, maybe with some sea salt, or you put some nuts on top of your oatmeal in the morning, like it adds that crunch, it adds that flavor, texture. It's a game changer. And really it makes you, that's the sustainability point, is like you start to fall in love with these meals too. You want to eat them, you crave them. And fat actually does not make you fat. It helps the body burn fat because of the blood sugar control. When blood sugar is super stable, your body can actually start to burn fat instead of store fat. So that's huge. All right, you guys, are you guys still with me? Any questions or anything? Now that I learned how to do the chat, I'm like getting so confident that I can answer questions. How do you handle carbs? Okay, so now that we're talking about the 90-30-50 method right now and the breakdown, I just want to talk about carbs really quickly. Actually, we're going to get into that. I'm sorry. We are going to get into carbs. 150 is too high. How do you adjust your calories for your macros? So we're actually going to get into all of that next, coming up. Okay, so quickly, when you put it all together, your metabolism is running optimally and it's fully supported. Your blood sugar is balanced because these three nutrients help to control it. Your hormones are nourished, they're supported. Insulin is more controlled. Cortisol begins to decline. Leptin and ghrelin, which are the hormones that tell us when we're hungry and full, are more stable. They're running optimally. So everything is working together. And not to mention, because we just went over how nourishing and satiating these nutrients are, when they're making up the majority of your meals, you're left feeling full, which is kind of what I just talked about. Your energy is up. Your mood is better. There are so many people that are like, I just am happier, like on this plan. I'm so much happier than I was when I was doing a traditional diet. So you begin to see the scale move in the right direction as well, which is super, super motivating. So let's see if that's next. So the body responds quickly to the correct nutrition plan. Just a couple of more testimonials to get motivated about the 90-30-50 method. It's so simple. All of your recipes are so good. You know, they're made with real food. They're anti-inflammatory. Started Sunday. I believe this was like on a Tuesday or Wednesday that she wrote this, but she had already lost 3 pounds. Just started following this week and I'm already down 3 pounds. Today officially marks 50 pounds down following your plan. 2 weeks into the spring reset and I'm 5 pounds down. Somebody said she's only doing the method, the 90-30-50 method, for a week and a half and already lost 2 pounds, little to no cravings after struggling with weight loss for almost 2 years. That kind of sounds like me. Have been doing it for 6 weeks, lost 12 pounds. So truly, the body responds very quickly. Once you get the protein locked in, the fiber, the fats, and your blood sugar stable, your hormones are balanced and nourished, you do start to see results pretty quickly. So how it works. So let's talk about how to do this on your own. Okay, so calculating your calories, you can screenshot this page. This is again gonna be in the replay, so you could totally just take a picture of it then or write it down. But this is the gold standard weight loss equation that I use for my clients. Of course, I use my education and things like that to determine like your activity level and if these numbers would work for your lifestyle and things like that. But generally, this is how we calculate calories. So for females, that's the equation up top, males. And then once you get that number from the first equation and you work out maybe a few times a week, you would use maybe like the lightly active activity level. Maybe you work out 5 to 7 days a week, then you'd multiply it by 1.5 to get your number. So this equation plus the activity factor is how you calculate your calories right now that you need to maintain your weight. And then if you want to calculate it for weight loss, you subtract it by 500. So that is how you would find your calories for weight loss. So again, take a screenshot of this, write it down, or just wait for the replay. And then determine your nutrients. So this is where we go beyond a traditional diet. Most people just take that, let's say it was 1,500 calories it came out to, and they just run with it. They plug it into their MyFitnessPal, and they're like, I don't really care how much protein, fat, and fiber that I'm eating. As long as I'm sticking within this 1,500 calories, we're good. That's the difference between losing weight and losing fat and gaining muscle, and losing weight temporarily and keeping it off for years, for a lifetime. So this is how I typically break down nutrients as well. And again, it varies for everybody. If you are a type 2 diabetic and I'm doing a custom meal plan for you, I might do carbs a little bit lower and protein and fats higher. But if you're somebody who loves a more carb heavy meal and can kind of do without fats, maybe we'll keep your fats right at 50 and go a little bit higher on the carbs. It all depends. You can definitely play around with these numbers, but the goal is it needs to be at least 90 grams of protein, which we've reached with 131 grams of protein, at least 50 grams of fats. And then this is kind of where it gets confusing, but stay with me here and ask questions if you have any in the chat. So basically I'll do the proteins first. I'll break that down. I start with 35% of calories. I like that number. And I make sure that it's at least 90 grams. Okay. Then I go to the fats. And, I usually make it 35. And I make sure it's at least 50 grams of fats. And then whatever's left, so I use the protein and the fats to calculate the calories that I'm at. And then I kind of subtract and use whatever's left to have my carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are always included in the plan. They're just last. They're leftover because I'm prioritizing protein and fat. And then of those carbohydrates, I need to be reaching at least 30 grams of fiber. So my carbs would have to be real food, low glycemic, high fiber carbs. So that would be like quinoa, rice, black beans, chickpeas, hummus, sweet potato, regular potatoes. I'm trying to think so those carbohydrates, they'd still come with a ton of fiber because we still need to reach that 30 grams of fiber goal. So let me know if that's confusing. I understand if it would be. Luckily, we're going to talk about how you don't really have to even do that at all. But, I think it's good that you guys know too. Now I lost you guys in the chat. People who know how to work this are probably looking at me like so annoyed that I can't work this, but I'll come back to it at the end when we do the Q&A. I'll go through and we can always go through this again. And if I see the chat pop up, I'll okay, there we go. Okay. These are really good questions. Let me know. I'm going to answer all of these questions at the end of the Q&A, but let me know if you guys have any questions about this calorie breakdown. And if you're totally not interested in it either, that's fine. Again, if this wasn't my job, then I don't think I would be either. But there is, okay, so how it works then, when you have your calories and you have your breakdown, then the third thing you have to do is create a plan, because having a plan is the single most effective way to stay consistent. Without a plan, you're planning to fail. I know we've all heard it before, but planning out what you're going to eat takes the guesswork out of it, takes the decision fatigue out of it, helps you plan ahead and stay on track. It's super effective to stay on track. So when you're creating your plan, you want to make sure that the meals align with the calculated calories and macro breakdown that you have. So you want to make sure that your meals add up to that 113 grams of of protein or whatever you calculated. You want to make sure each day should follow the 90-30-50 method. If you want to see results like we saw in those testimonials where people are consistently seeing weight loss, we have to consistently be reaching that 90-30-50 method. The meal plan that you're creating should also include a variety of meals to ensure adequate micronutrient intake. So remember, we talked about a good variety of micronutrients to make sure our hormones, our blood sugar, and our metabolism are supported. And then each week, I would create a grocery list with exactly what you need to do to reduce food waste and save time. I know when I go into the grocery store and I don't have a list, I'm like, that looks good. That looks good. And then I'll get home and I'll be like, wait, I forgot what I needed. I didn't even get what I needed to get. So just having a plan saves a ton of time and money. So I think that that's really key. But there is an easier way to see results, thankfully. If all of those calculations you either, again, were just uninterested in, confused with, honestly, I confused myself there. I totally get it. And there is definitely an easier way to see results. So option one is the Spring Fit and 4 program. So this is where we have 4-week meal plans. And that's why I say it's 4 months worth of meal plans, because it's 4 options. You have options to all of these. When you enroll, you will have options of 4-week low glycemic plan, a 4-week gluten-free plan, a 4-week gluten and dairy-free plan, and a 4-week pescatarian plan. It comes with a daily macro breakdown. So you don't have to do any calculations on your end. It's set for you every single day. All you have to do is eat the meals and prep them. But it's all done for you. The structure follows the 90-30-50 method every day. And every single plan is set to 1,400 to 1,600 calories. The majority of people are around 1,500 calories for weight loss. Of course, that varies. And if you've calculated your calories on your own and you're like, well, my calories are actually more around 1,650, you can take this plan and you can add a snack, or you can increase the portions a little bit, but at least using it as the base to get that 90-30-50 method structure and then adjusting from there is a great start. And there's a new addition this year. There's going to be a community platform. So we're going to have a private Facebook group. We're going to check in weekly. We're going to touch base about the plans, any questions you might have. I'm going to be there to support you throughout the entire program, which I think was lacking before. I'll do some Facebook Lives with some Q&As. And of course, if you need help with food swaps, I just had somebody email me and say, I'm interested in your plan, but I don't like chickpeas. And I feel like some of your recipes do include chickpeas. They definitely would. But we can always talk about swaps, or you can take some of the meals, mix and match them. I have a lot of clients do that. All of the recipes focus on protein, fat, and fiber. So it wouldn't matter if you mix and match them. You'd still likely be reaching those goals and seeing results. These plans are not customized. This is a group fat loss program, but they are all geared towards weight loss, blood sugar balance, hormone balance, and reduced inflammation. So that's option one. This is what it looks like. When you come into the program and you start to download the meal plans, this is what it looks like. So the recipes do repeat themselves some days because we're not trying to sit and cook these gourmet meals. None of them are really gourmet meals that take a ton of time, but I'm saying we're not cooking every single day. The idea is to meal prep, maybe take a couple hours on a Sunday and prep everything you need, whether that's chopping vegetables, getting the cauliflower rice ready for Monday through Wednesday, and having things ready, and eating the same thing a couple days in a row just to stay consistent, to save time and money as well. It's very expensive to eat something different every single day. So the meals do repeat themselves some days, and that's on purpose. That's for meal planning purposes and meal prepping purposes. But this is what you'll have. You'll have every meal and every snack planned for you. And you'll also have access to your daily macronutrient breakdown. So when you go in, you will see your macros already calculated for you. Every single day will be at least 90 grams of protein, 30 grams of fiber, and at least 50 grams of healthy fats. And you can see the percent breakdowns too, if you're interested in that. When you click on each individual recipe, this is what it will look like. So you'll have your ingredients here. It's a full detailed recipe. It tells you exactly how to make the meal. And each one includes a full macro breakdown. So let's say you wanted to do, maybe you just wanted to make this apple and cinnamon chia pudding Monday through Friday because you got to head to work early and you just want everything prepped. So you're like, I'm just going to make this meal. So you can just take the recipe, have the macronutrient breakdown here, the directions here, and then you can also adjust the servings. There is an ability to adjust the servings. You would be able to adjust this to 5 servings if you wanted to make it Monday through Friday. And all of the ingredients would automatically adjust as well. So you would know how much of everything you needed if you wanted to adjust the serving size. So it's not customized, but you have the ability to customize it in terms of servings. And again, you can totally mix and match the recipes and things like that. These are some of the recipes from the Spring Fit and 4 program. A lot of you are from Instagram and TikTok, so you probably saw my meal prep this weekend. I go through the plans way in advance, and these were some of my favorites that were from the program, but I just go through to make sure all the recipes make sense and that they taste good before I put them into the plans. These were some of my favorites from this week. The ham and onion egg white quiche, just had that again this morning. The Greek chicken quinoa and tzatziki bowl. The cheesesteak skillet was so good. And the cheeseburger salad jars are what I made this week to stay on track. So when you enroll, you will see these recipes as well. And this gives you some insight into what the recipes look like. They're made with real food. All of these recipes took 30 minutes or less. They're simple. You can throw them together the night of, or they're super easy for meal prep as well. But there's no crazy ingredients or anything like that. You don't need access to a Whole Foods or a specific grocery store or anything like that. It's just real food. It's just produce, proteins, and things like that. And then option 2 is a 2-week custom meal plan. So this is a completely customized plan. It's set to your unique macros. So those calculations that we did before, I would do those for you based on your age, your weight, your height, your goals, your health history, all of that, and your activity levels, all taken into account. And your meal plan will be set to those goals. So it's integrated with the 90-30-50 method. That's a given. I'll make sure that it's, integrated with the 90-30-50 method. It includes a 20-minute discovery call with me. So basically we chat virtually over a Zoom call like this. Actually, it's a HIPAA secure portal. So all of your information will be confidential. But we talk about your health history. If you have labs, or anything. The more information you bring about your health history, the better I can create a custom plan for you. But we'll take those 20 minutes to dive deep into your goals and how we need to create the meal plan to get there. It also includes 1 round of edits. So I'm going to make it as perfect as I can the first round, but that 1 round of edits, maybe you go through the plan for a few days and you're like, I didn't love that chicken salad recipe. Can I get that swapped out? So you'll have one chance to see which recipes that you want out or however you want it switched up. I can do that for you. And it also includes up to 3 supplement recommendations. So based on your goals and any sort of lab work you have. If you don't have lab work, that's okay. We can kind of take your symptoms and things like that, and I can provide supplement recommendations, which comes with brand and dosing recommendations as well. And it includes relevant recommendations based on health, lab work, and more. So if you're ready to reach your goals, I'm like, wow, it's already been 45 minutes. So I'll go through this. So your unique code, and I'm going to send you the links in the chat. It'll also be in the replay. I'm going to send an email out. But even if you go to my Instagram right now or my TikTok and you go to the link in my bio, you'll see if you click on these programs, they're open and they're available to you right now. So the Spring Fit and 4 program, it's $99 with the code SPRING2025 at checkout. Again, this is a unique discount code for webinar members. And that's it. And then just so you know, when you enroll, the plans will not drop until March 1st, but this is early access. So just to secure your spot and get it at its lowest price, use Spring 2025 at checkout. And wait, there's more. The Spring Fit and 4 cookbook is also available. I took $20 off for you guys. This is basically a cookbook that you can use in combination with the Spring Fit and 4 program, or you can use on its own. It's all of the recipes from the previous programs. So I've put them into a recipe book for you. So again, if you maybe don't like a meal that has chickpeas in it, if you don't like chickpeas, you can totally kind of swap in other recipes. And I'm kind of going quickly through this, but that's also spring 2025. And then the 2-week custom meal planning, again, there's only 50 spots available, and you guys are having first access to these spots. And you can use spring 2025 at checkout to get it $30 off as well. That's the one where we have a call. Once you enroll, you'll be set up to do a discovery call, to schedule a discovery call. We'll dive into your health history and get that custom plan created for you. So those are the options that we have. I want to give some time for Q&A. So I'm going to stop sharing here and make sure that I answer your guys' questions. And really quickly, I'm going to put all the links here. Spring Fit in 4 program. This is the link for this. For the Spring Fit in 4. And this is the Fit in 4. This is the cookbook link. And this is the custom meal planning link. So again, for all of those, use code SPRING 2025 and you will see your discount automatically applied. So let's see. I'm going to go through your questions now. Anybody who has to hop off, again, it's been that 45 minutes, so feel free to drop off and catch the replay if you want answers to any of these questions, but those who can stick around, I'm going to answer as many as I can. So somebody asked, how do you handle carbs? 150 grams is too high. How do you adjust calories? So we went over that. How do you adjust calories for your macros? So we went over how to do those calorie calculations, how to break down your macros within your calories. Now, if you think 150 grams of carbs is too high, I would knock down that percentage to maybe 20 or 25% of your calories instead of 30, and it should come under 150. If it doesn't, I would go a little bit lower. I wouldn't go any lower than about 15% of your calories, but then you'd have to compensate by increasing the protein and the fat. I don't really consider 150 grams high, and the reason being is because we're eating 30 grams of fiber. So if we're eating 150 grams of carbs and 30 grams of that is fiber, it's going to significantly blunt that blood sugar spike. It's going to still keep our blood sugar level, our metabolism supported. So I think actually 150 grams is more on the low glycemic end. I would say anything 200 and above is where we start getting high. Would you recommend intermittent fasting as well? I love intermittent fasting, and I think you can definitely do it for women. I love to intermittent fast with your cycle. If you guys want me to talk about that more, I definitely can share some resources, but the only thing is the week leading up to the first day of your period, I would not intermittent fast at all. Your body kind of tells you that too. You'll wake up hungrier, and you'll just have more cravings in general. But beyond that, yeah, a 15-hour fast is a great thing to integrate pretty regularly with the 90-30-50 method. It's going to accelerate those results. Do you find it hard to implement this method with young children? I have a 2 and a 4-year-old. I don't know if you mean for yourself, like how do you stay with it for yourself? Because this isn't really a structure that I would really implement for a 2 or 4-year-old. But if you're talking about for yourself, I think it just takes a lot of planning and a lot of prep. Not a lot of prep, but I think it takes commitment. For instance, when I was doing the meal prep this weekend, it was about an hour and a half of meal prepping, and that was like chopping vegetables. I pretty much prep the entire meals, but you could even cut that in half if you just like got your vegetables ready for the week, or maybe you just cooked up the ground beef for the week or something like that. Anything to get ahead, because life gets crazy, especially with toddlers. I feel like my schedule is just always thrown off, and just having things prepped and ready to go makes it really easy. Are your recipes and menus on MyFitnessPal? They're not on MyFitnessPal. You can definitely take the macros from each one of those recipes and plug it into MyFitnessPal and track that way if you kind of want to track like that on your own. It's not similar to keto because we're prioritizing. So keto is very high fat, moderate protein, and little to no carbs, where we're doing pretty much an even balance of all of them. So focusing on protein, focusing on fat, and focusing on a good amount of carbs. Again, keto is about 0 to 10 grams of carbs, where I'm saying 150 grams of carbs is even okay if you're having that 30 grams of fiber. So definitely different from keto. Is the program altered for those in perimenopause? No. So it focuses on hormone balance. Again, if you and I had a custom meal plan and you came with lab work and your estrogen and your progesterone levels, I might adjust your protein and your carbs and things like that. But the general Fit and 4 program, the Spring Fit and 4, is not customized, but it works very well for women in perimenopause because of that focus on fiber for natural detoxification. It can help with that excess estrogen and protein. So again, as we age, we need more and more protein. And then in perimenopause and menopause, it's a whole different ballgame. We need even more protein. So having some structure like the 90-30-50 method is extremely effective for those in perimenopause. Okay, what about alcohol? I mean, to get the best results in your 4-week plan, I would recommend omitting it, but it can definitely be integrated into the plan. I think I would just, let's say you're planning to go and drink on a night out, I would still start your day with that 30 to 50 grams of protein and have the lunch that's on the plan. And then somebody else asked, well, what about like eating at a restaurant? I would take a look at what's for dinner on the plan and order something similar at the restaurant. Every time you have an alcoholic drink, I would have water between it, and I would still eat a lot of protein while you're drinking too. Do you change the carb amount throughout the day, like more carb heavy meals for breakfast, low carb for dinner? No. So I don't really kind of get in the weeds with that. I think that some people do well with like a lower carb breakfast, and some people feel more weighed down with a low carb or with a higher carb breakfast. But I just look at those totals and make sure that we're reaching our 90-30-50 goals, that we have a lot of fiber, and then that will take care of the blood sugar imbalances and hunger, despite a low carb or a high carb meal. But if you're somebody who does better on a higher carb meal, maybe you like protein oats in the morning and you want to swap it out for those egg meals that are on the plan, you can totally do that. How to handle allergies, just shrimp, and I can't do spicy. So again, if you need any ingredient swaps, we're going to have an online community where I can help you. Other members can help you think of ideas to swap. Shrimp is pretty easy. If shrimp is on the plan, I would swap it for any other protein. So if it's 3 ounces of shrimp, you can swap it for 3 ounces of chicken, 3 ounces of salmon, 3 ounces of beef. So all proteins are a one-to-one substitute. And then with spicy, it just might be an adjustment. Like if you don't like chili flakes or something like that, you can totally take them out. Or you can swap it for a whole nother recipe on the plan too. There's so many recipes to choose from. After a 2-week custom plan, what do you do after the 2 weeks? So some people enroll in another 2-week plan. Some people use the structure and they start to be able to integrate their own recipes into the plan. They get a feel for how their portion should look and what their calories and macros should be. And they maybe track it on MyFitnessPal or another app and start to kind of do it themselves. So the idea is you do gain these skills and this education to be able to do it on your own. But I do have people that are like, I'm going to go ahead and kind of re-enroll, or you can transition into the Spring Fit and 4 program where you get four additional week programs. I had to look away. Can you discuss what you said about lab work? Is that in the custom plan? Yes. So if you're interested in a custom plan, then we'd have a 20-minute discovery call. I'd send you an intake form, ask about medications, supplements. So it is like a nutrition session. So you would come with your lab work. I'd look it over. Let's say you have high cholesterol or a high fasting blood sugar or A1C or anything, I would take that into account when doing your custom meal plan. So beyond macros and calorie breakdown, maybe I would make the carbs a little bit lower, or maybe your protein goals would be different, or maybe your fat goals would be different. So it all depends. And I would definitely take that into account when doing a custom plan. So I sent the Spring Fit and 4 links, sent all the links. You have recipes for the DASH diet. This isn't really the DASH diet, but the DASH is really just focusing on low sodium. When you're eating real whole unprocessed foods, they're naturally low in sodium. I would actually recommend to add some sea salt to your meals because you do need sodium, but just keeping it to real food would help get away from that processed sodium, which the DASH diet recommends. What if I sign up for the Spring Fit, then I decide I need more help? Will I be able to get the custom meal planning later? Absolutely. So again, there's only 50 spots available right now because it is custom meal planning. So it does take me time to do those. So I'm going to take 50 at a time. Let's say you enroll in the Spring Fit in 4, the 50 spots were taken. It will definitely open for enrollment when spots begin to open up again. So you can definitely do a custom meal plan later. Absolutely. I won't be able to purchase till March 1st. Will this still be okay? Absolutely. So after the 2-week custom meal plan, what would we follow? I answered that before. Let me know if you have any other questions. White rice versus brown rice or wild rice. No, not one's better. It's kind of like white bread and wheat bread. They both pretty much have the same nutrition profile, and same goes for white, brown, or wild. So whichever one you enjoy the most is the one that I recommend having. Okay, am I still on medication for Hashimoto's? Yes, I am. Is the program altered for those in perimenopause? I answered that. Do you recommend eating before coffee in the morning? Well, it depends if you're intermittent fasting. I would definitely, at the absolute minimum, recommend about 16 to 20 ounces of water before coffee. But if you're planning on intermittent fasting, you can do some coffee and then break your fast a little bit later in the day. If you're somebody who notices shakiness, irritability, more hunger, lightheadedness, if you do have caffeine on an empty stomach, then I would adjust that and have protein breakfast earlier. Firstly, thank you. I'm excited to get started. Do you think I can easily follow the meal plans, not knowing my weight and goals personally, and will I have success? So, like I said, the Fit in 4 program is not customized, but it is set to the 90-30-50 method, and it's in a 1,400 to 1,600 calorie range. So I do have people that are like, well, I'm losing weight, but I'm kind of losing it slowly. You can adjust it how you want. If you're really full on the plan and you're like, I can't do like 3 meals and 2 snacks, it just seems like too much food, you can omit a snack or two. Or again, you can always kind of enroll in the custom meal planning package where I will calculate your calorie needs for you and then create the meal plan accordingly. So you can be rest assured that it's tailored to your needs. And you should not have to track anything. No, everything is done for you. Everything is calculated for you every single day. I have to eat between 1,200 and 1,300 calories to be in a deficit. Does that sound like enough? I'm older and not active, although I'm trying to walk and strength train. Ideally, we're not going much lower than 1,300 calories. I think that if you're not seeing results and unless you go really that low, then we need to increase the protein, maybe increase strength training just a little, just to build that lean muscle mass up, and that can increase your metabolism, and that way you can eat a little bit more. Sometimes too, if you have a strong history of dieting and low calories, sometimes your metabolism can slow down again because of that lack of lean muscle, because your body's trying to adapt to low calories. So that could be a factor too. So actually slowly increasing it can increase your metabolism over time too. I missed the coupon code for the spring. Yes, everything, all programs, the coupon code is spring 2025. So that should be good for all the plans. That's 30% off the custom meal planning plus that early entry access. That's okay. I should probably, I don't have it memorized, but it's money off of everything. So just use that spring 2025 for all 3 of the options. All right, Michelle, I'll see you later. Let me just see. Thanks so much for being here. Do you have a list of lab work to ask the doctor? I can definitely send this, or I can put it in Instagram or my stories, or if you email me, just gonna put my email here. If you email me too, I can send you. But basically, it's definitely like a metabolic panel where they're running your glucose, your fasting, blood sugar. I would definitely ask for thyroid levels. A lot of doctors don't run this, but I think everybody should have a fasting insulin level. I think it's really important to know where that hormone is. Cholesterol, liver enzymes. These are the tests that doctors generally do. I would say the out of the ordinary ones would be a thyroid panel, ideally a complete thyroid panel with antibodies, and that fasting insulin test, and a vitamin D test too. You should see me as a patient. I'm like, can I get those antibodies again on my thyroid? And my doctor's like, fine. I'm like, you really have to kind of advocate for yourself to get these labs. Would you have to buy both the custom and the Spring Fit and 4 program? No, absolutely not. With the custom plan, do you have access? Okay, so let me answer the first one. Do you have to buy both the custom or the Spring Fit program? You don't have to buy both of them. You can pick one or the other. One's a custom plan, and the Spring Fit and 4 is a non-custom plan, but still has the goal of the 90-30-50 method and weight loss, but it's at a lower price because it's not customized. The Spring Fit and 4 will have that community aspect. It's a group program. We're all doing it together. It's self-paced, but it's nice to be able to pop into the Facebook group and just see how other people are doing on the plan or what other people have. In the custom, you don't have that community access. There's no community. It's an individualized plan, but you can email me at any time. Just purchased the spring plan and cookbook. So exciting, Ashley. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for you to get started. I'm doing the winter one, had a few days off and totally felt the difference. I feel the same way. It makes a huge difference. But the most important thing is getting back on track, and it's like everything starts to fall into place again. So do you think the only way to control antibodies is on medication? So I was actually on medication for about 10 years and didn't notice any change in my thyroid function at all. I always felt sluggish. I always had difficulty losing weight. My medication was closely monitored and adjusted pretty regularly. But it wasn't until I changed my diet and started really focusing on what I need to do diet-wise. I needed to add protein. I personally needed to go gluten-free. I needed to go gluten and dairy-free for a little bit. And then I saw my numbers come way down. My antibodies went from over 1,000 to less than 1, which would have probably never happened. I can't say for sure, but likely would have never happened if I just focused on medication alone and ate and did whatever I want just on medication. So medication is definitely a great therapy and one that's almost required, but diet does move the needle in terms of seeing results. All right, guys. Okay. You have a list. Okay. Last question. How often do you recommend testing antibodies? I would say every 3 to 6 months to see if what you're doing is working, like you said. So if you're starting a new plan, let's say you just start the gluten-free plan on the Spring Fit and 4 because you have a thyroid problem and you know that gluten-free is backed by research to really help the thyroid and you want to monitor that closely, I would say a minimum of 3 months. And if your doctor doesn't run that for you, which will likely be the case probably due to insurance reasons, there's something called Ulta Labs. And Ulta Labs is a lab testing site that you can go to. And you can basically go online and order the labs that you want. If you're in the custom meal planning program, I can give you some direction into what labs might be the best for you. But basically what you do is you go in, they're at a discounted price. I think the TSH is like less than $20 and the thyroid antibodies aren't much more. You add them to your cart and it sends you a script. You take it to a Quest or a LabCorp. You put in your zip code so you can find out like where the testing site is closest to you. And you go and you get the results back in like 2 days. So that's what I do to monitor my TSH and my thyroid antibodies a little more closely because it is that sometimes I ask my doctor and it's kind of like, okay. Or sometimes I'm like, honestly, too scared to ask because I feel like I'm being annoying. So I'm like, I'll just go check on my own. It might not be covered anyway. So that's another way too. So, all right, guys. Well, this is really good. I hope it was informative for you guys. I hope I answered a lot of your questions. If you're watching the replay and you have questions, feel free to email me, or if anybody is watching this live and something pops up later, you can email me at any time. But anyone who's watching, don't forget, you can enroll in the Spring Fit and 4, the Fit and 4 cookbook, or the custom meal planning package for a huge discount using the code SPRING2025 at checkout. Only you guys have this discount code and only you guys have access